Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be all about how the human body expends energy on a daily basis. Simply put, how do we burn calories? So first and foremost, what are calories? So nice and simply, calories are units of energy. Fairly straightforward. And the human body does three different things with calories. So one of the things that we do with calories is, of course, we burn them. The other thing that we do with calories is we store them, okay? So we store them in the body for use at a later date. They can be stored as fat, as weight in general. And the final thing that we do with calories is we absorb them. So much different to the storing. The absorption is more kind of the way you extract them from food. So for example, if I eat a protein, I will convert that into an amino acid that will get absorbed into my body cells and help me to build and repair a muscle. And so we burn, we store, and we absorb calories. So there are four different ways that the human body burns calories, expends energy on a daily basis. One of those ways, as you might have imagined, is of course through exercise. Another way is through your resting metabolic rate. Your resting metabolic rate. How many calories the body burns just at rest, just keeping the lights on essentially, including whilst you're asleep. Another way is something that we call non-exercise activity, or NEAT for short, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. But for the purpose of today, all that is just your day-to-day movements. That could be your job, that could be cooking, cleaning, getting dressed, shopping, so on and so forth. So we've got exercise, resting metabolic rate, non-exercise activity. And the final way that we burn some calories is actually through that digestion and absorption that we mentioned before. However, the technical name for that is something called the thermic effect of food. So essentially how many calories your body burns digesting different types of nutrients. Now, the reason why it's not called just digestion and absorption and it is called the thermic effect of food is this little bit here of food that is important, because actually the number of calories that you'll burn digesting a particular nutrient depends on the particular nutrient. So you will burn a different amount of calories digesting a carbohydrate than you will digesting a protein, than you will digesting a fat, and so on and so forth, but we'll get into that in a separate video. So we've got exercise, resting metabolic rate, non-exercise activity, and the thermic effect of food, or simply put, the digestion and absorption of nutrients. Now the next place that we want to go is to look at what percentage of your overall energy expenditure do any of these account for. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pop down these particular percentages down here. And this is because each of these 4 bullet points accounts for a certain percentage of your overall energy expenditure. So we've got 4 bullet points, 4 percentages: 70%, 15%, 10%, and 5%, of course, all adding up to 100%. Now, what people tend to automatically assume is that surely exercise is going to account for the biggest, right? Exercise burns so many calories, is so important, surely that's going to be the 70%. Well, actually, that's wrong. So 70% of the calories, of the energy that your body expends on a daily basis, are actually burnt through your resting metabolic rate, interestingly enough, and we'll kind of expand on that in a few moments. Even more surprising than that, perhaps, for people, is actually that 5% of the calories that you burn every single day are burnt through your exercise. So quite often really the complete opposite of what people tend to think. Now 15% is your non-exercise activity, your day-to-day movements, and that leaves 10% for the thermic effect of food, your digestion and absorption of nutrients. So let's explain the how and the why of all of these breakdowns. So how and why is your resting metabolic rate such a large percentage of the equation? Well, essentially, we can kind of take that for granted because you hear the word resting and you think, well, that's going to be inactive. Well, it's consciously inactive in the sense of, yes, I might be sitting, I might be laying down, I might be sleeping, but it's unconsciously very active because even whilst you are sitting or laying or sleeping, your body is still keeping you alive, right? Your heart is still working, pumping blood around the body. Your brain is still working. Your organs are still doing their jobs, right? Your immune system is still up and running. Your cells are regenerating, and so on and so forth. So the way to think of it is consciously inactive, unconsciously active. This is how many calories the body burns, keeping you alive, ticking you over on a day-to-day basis. And for 99% of people, that's going to be upwards of 1,000 calories a day at the bare minimum, just without even having lifted a finger. Just through the effort that the body puts in to keep you alive and ticking over at a very basic level. So how many calories it takes to fuel the human body at a very basic level without any of the other components. So why is this so important? Well, I speak to people all the time, and when I first engage with them, they'll often say to me, look, Daniel, I don't understand why I'm struggling with my weight, why I'm struggling with various other aspects of my health and well-being, because I do a lot of exercise. And then they proceed to tell me, that they might go for this class twice a week, and they go for this walk a few times a week, and they do this gym session, and that's fantastic, and I don't want to take away from any of that. If you do exercise, keep it up. It's not about stopping or getting rid of exercise. However, if you're just doing exercise and putting all of your eggs into that basket, it might not return to you what you think it should return to you, because it actually only accounts for quite a small part. And if you're ignoring, consciously or not, the other 3 areas that account for 95%, then that's not necessarily going to be enough, right? So your resting metabolic rate, a big chunk of that is going to be your sleep, right? We spoke about this in another video where we said that sleep is absolutely fundamental. It's the base of your health and well-being, right? And we should be sleeping for about 1/3 of the day, roughly 7 to 9 hours, right? Well, that's a huge chunk of time, a huge chunk of consciously inactive, unconsciously active time, right? What else? Your non-exercise activity. That's your day-to-day movements. Your shopping, your cleaning, your cooking, your job perhaps. Or if you have a very physically active job, that's fantastic. You stay on your feet a lot and you move around throughout the day. However, in the modern day world, the increasing scenario is that people have sedentary working from home jobs, right? Sat at a desk from 9 to 5, well, that's 8 hours. That's another 1/3 of the day gone right there. So what you do in that non-exercise activity, whether you are active and getting up every so often or whether you're fairly sedentary, has a very big part to play. Perhaps, in terms of absolute calories burned, much more than just merely exercise. Now, again, I must stress, exercise is still important for many reasons. However, today we're just focusing on your metabolism and how the body burns calories. So we've got the resting metabolic rate, the non-exercise activity. What about the thermic effect of food then? Well, this is absolutely crucial, right? Because it's not just any old food, it's what you eat, right? So things like protein have a very high thermic effect of food. You burn a lot more calories digesting protein than you do with certain other nutrients because it's a lot more filling. 10% of your metabolism is your digestion and absorption of nutrients, but it depends on what you eat. So it's what you do the most that's going to have the biggest impact on the final outcome at the end of the day. And if you put it into slightly broader terms, even if you did an hour of exercise every single day, which would amount to 7 hours a week, which for most people, that's quite a lot. If someone told you that they were doing 7 hours of exercise a week, an hour a day, you'd probably be quite impressed. However, there are 168 hours in a week. So you may very well spend 7 of them doing some exercise, but what are you up to in the other 161 hours? So if you don't sleep enough and you don't have a good quality of sleep, if you have a very sedentary lifestyle, and if you don't have the best diet, exercise is not going to make up for lacking in those other 3 areas. So it's absolutely important that we take a step back, look at the big picture, and ask ourselves those 3 questions. What is my sleep like? What does my day-to-day activity consist of? And how is my nutrition? And of course, exercise can be the cherry on the top of the cake for many people. So I hope that you found today's video useful. I hope it's given you some things to think about. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And I'll see you in the next video. So see you later.